Thank you, Ruth. That was just what I needed. We do want to give kudos, really, thanks to Ruth, our production manager, who does all of this behind the scenes. And yesterday when we were doing our event at the center, we did our rehearsal there as well, because we rehearse on Saturday mornings. And some of the team were like, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." No, this isn't just magic. It is, the amazing Ruth Hall, our president of our board, and so much more, that does so much for us. So thank you, dear. And thank you, Doug. That was so beautiful. I didn't even know where I was, and I just jumped out because I was so immersed in your beautiful choices, which always work on Sunday, no matter what. Even if I decide at midnight the night before that I'm going to change the topic, you seem to already know that. What is that about? So we have an amazing team, that's for sure. So I won't repeat the topic again, which is to be seen, felt, and heard is love. And I want to tell you that it is cost-free. It is a cost-free gift that we can give each other. And we're going to talk about this. So being heard, and I'm going to add being seen, felt, and heard, is so close to being loved that for the average person, they are almost indistinguishable. That is the most beautiful quote by David Osberger, and I'm going to read it again because I saw it so many places after I decided on what the topic was going to be about today. Being heard, and I'm adding seen and felt, is so close to being loved that for the average person, they're almost indistinguishable. And I'm wondering to myself, isn't that the first step of spiritual mind treatment? Isn't that how we begin our affirmative prayer? And in our teaching, we have what we call a spiritual mind treatment, which is our way of praying, which is, to a new person, rocket science. But once you get it, once you get to understand the steps, you realize that they were created for a reason. And the first step is to recognize spirit, calling it out, calling it whatever you call that which is greater than ourselves, that is infinite, creative, immortal, which impresses its creation into form. So it has impressed each and every one of us as a soul that is itself immortal, ever expanding, infinite. Isn't that amazing? And so isn't recognition then the most important and first thing that we do to love one another? We recognize that spirit that has impressed itself upon each and every one of us, causing us to be, and it is first cause, causing us to be that is, giving us a direct link, a direct channel to it, to use it to create as well. So it creates out of itself, it impresses itself in creation, and that's what we do. That's what we do then. We then cause and create our own lives. And we have at our access this infinite mind. And that's the science of mind, of course, that we can then observe the infinite potential, the waves of potential, and of course then collapse into a particle, into a form, into our very lives, and into the life of all of us, that which we impress. So of course we want to impress now with the highest ideal, don't we? Don't we now, in this cultural collective see a need to impress that which is good, that which is love, that which is light, that which is abundance, that which is all for all. So I am so excited to learn about this idea that love is being heard and seen and felt. So today I'm going to talk about those three things. I'm going to talk about to be seen, I'm going to talk about to be felt, and I'm going to talk about to be heard. And remember last week and the week before, we talked about August being exploring what is good for me must be good for all. Now that's a big concept because I think we can interpret that with what is good for me is good for all. Let's not close our ears here to what I'm saying. What is good for me must be good for all. It's a big difference because I'm noticing, and I don't know if you're noticing, but there's a lot of opinion out there in the world right now. I must speak my truth. I stand for this. You must say it like this. You must stand with me or you're against me. There's so much division and provision. I don't think we're paying a lot of attention for what's good for all, are we? I think we're paying attention to our own agenda. Okay, that could sound a little like what I was just saying, shoving my idea into your space. Let's just keep it to I statements today. Sometimes I think my agenda is a lot more important than your feelings. Does anyone ever feel that way? Religious science teaches that each person is a unique expression of God created with sacred worth. Do you look at what's going on in the world? Do you look at people right now who have platforms? Do you say, now that person has sacred worth? Or do you throw daggers of name calling and, okay, I'm sorry, I was supposed to do I statements. Do I see that person on the platform and say, you have sacred worth? Or do I say, are you effing kidding me? You didn't just say that. So August is our month, as we said, to fill our container with spirit so that our overflow fills our community, our country, and our world. And what does that mean? That means that we are emptying our container of anything other than that which is good for all, so that we make room for good. That's what we're doing in August. This is a spiritual practice, and it's really delicious in these times of turmoil, and people are saying and claiming it be a divisive time, a time of division, of the great divide. We're also, last week we were introduced to emanationism, right? Which is that cosmological theory which asserts that all things flow from an underlying principle or reality, usually called the absolute or the Godhead or the Great Spirit or whatever you call it. And this idea is that we are all one. We are living in the oneness of all life. And when we do not live there, we are probably not, when I don't live there, I am probably not making room for what is good for all so that I can affect and influence the world right now with what is good. What will help us all rise up. So I know we talk about that every week. So to be seen, this is something that came in my meditation. Do we want to be seen or do we want to be relatable? This is a question, isn't it? Do we want to be seen or do we want to be relatable? Marianne Williamson says, our deepest need is to be seen. But haven't you heard also, our deepest need is to be heard? Our deepest need is to be forgiven? Let's just say we have deep needs as humans. But right now in our country and even in other countries that we've inspired for what's going on in our country, being seen is really important. Being seen for who we are culturally, who we are ethnically, who we are religiously, who we are nationally, right? Who we are for ability. I think that first and foremost, we recognize one another. We recognize one another like we do the first step of spiritual mind treatment. What if we spent this entire week in the first step of spiritual mind treatment with every human being we encounter, whether on social media, whether on TV, whether at work, whether in the family? What if we spent this whole entire week in the first step of spiritual mind treatment, which is that I recognize you? And that goes back to our conversations when we were at the center, when I said, ask, don't tell. Who are you? Why do you wear those clothes? What is the significance? What is the significance of covering your head? What is the significance of where were you raised? Where did your family come from? I want to learn. I want to recognize. I want to recognize you. Because we do have bodies, right? We do have bodies. Michael Stipe says, my feeling is that labels are for canned food. That's a good one, isn't it? Do we label each other? Remember when we talked about that, we talked about race consciousness, and what is race consciousness in our teaching? It is that cultural global belief. I've said, what do you think of when you see the color pink? You think of breast cancer. We definitely, as a collective, believe in certain things, and we need to challenge those beliefs. I am challenging those beliefs. And here is from Melody Hobson. It was a TED Talk that I listened to that was so great. I'm asking you to look at the people around you purposefully and intentionally. Invite people into your life who don't look like you, don't think like you, don't act like you, don't come from where you come from, and you might find that they will challenge your assumptions and make you grow as a person. I think we are very much attached to our opinion. So what is it to be felt? Remember when I said, do we want to be seen to be relatable? I think we want to be felt to be understood. I think that to understand is to empower, and to be understood is to be empowered. As you can see, I did a lot of thinking about this. Because right now, I want to influence the world around me, and we are sheltering in place. We don't even go outside, much less how do we influence each other? Well, guess what? We do that in consciousness, because that's causal. That is first cause. That's where everything comes from. That's what causes all in all. And so if in consciousness I'm lazy and I am not working for my good and the good of all, I am not being constructive. I'm not contributing. I'm not contributing if I'm not influencing. And if I'm influencing in negativity, which we have free will to do, that is not serving the greater good. So with others, respectful willingness to recognize you and your intentions, you're empowered to attempt and accomplish things that you otherwise might not be driven to do. If you feel understood, you're not groping your way in the darkness. You know, we have this term, I feel you. Do we really? I don't think so. Do I really? I don't think so. But I feel you means I understand you. So how about we take that statement into our week? Why don't we use it to create awareness, to bring to the surface that which is causal, that which can create good? Why don't we use the term I feel you all week long and really mean it? I feel you means I understand. I agree with you. I sympathize. I hear you. It denotes that we understand what we're saying and what you're saying to me, and more importantly, that I understand how you're feeling. Now, I'm sure the hair on your neck, some of you might say, well, wait a minute, what if I don't agree? I need to stand for that. I need to stand for the fact that I do not agree with you, because if I don't say anything, especially if I say I agree, then I am agreeing. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about giving someone you're in an exchange with the feeling that they're being felt. What is this about? This is about love. This is about being heard, being seen, being felt is love. Now, these difficult conversations, that's not what we're talking about here today. We're not talking about having those conversations that we need to have with each other and want to have with each other and agree to have with each other and agree to have responsibly with each other, with, coming to the table and having experts facilitate and keeping us safe and really wanting and agreeing to coming to the table and listening to our different points of view. This is not that. This is literally being with somebody who you don't agree with. Da, 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 and loving them. This is completely different. This is knowing that we can have different political views or religious views or beliefs, and that we can see beyond that to the spirit, to the creator that creates all life, that we are all one and finding a way to each other. Do you, okay, let me just, do I sometimes know we are of completely opposite opinion and close my heart? Do we do this? Close my heart. Talk to the hand. I'm done with you. We're not friends anymore. I'm going to unfriend you. I'm certainly going to unfollow you. I'm going to I'm going to snooze for 30 days on yourself. Do you ever do that? I'm like going to snooze on you. If I snooze on you twice for 30 days, I'll make it all the way to the election. And then I'll still be able to love you. Wow. Aren't we bigger than that? Are we bigger than that? Let me see your hands if we're bigger than that. How important is your opinion on closing your heart to someone that has a different one? Wow. And mind you, I can't talk about this stuff if it hasn't happened to me, right? Or if I'm not behaving in this way. How would I know, right? Who's writing this talk for me? Certainly you know me. I don't follow the notes. I don't follow direction. I don't follow anyone else. I have to follow God's idea of itself as me and what comes out of my mouth. And what comes out of my mouth is self-examination. And sometimes I just don't like who I am or who I'm becoming or who I am behaving as. I love who I am, the perfect eminence of the one. We are emanations of the divine, all of us. And sometimes I forget that. Do you forget that sometimes? Okay, how many times a day? Oh, you make me feel so much better. You know, that's another thing. We don't want to feel alone, do we? I don't want to be left alone in my behavior. Feeling understood helps keep us from isolation and disconnection. Guys, you know, if we're studying Brene Brown, her quote at the beginning was so beautiful. We all belong. We all belong here, and we belong together, period. And if there is a distraction from that, we need to look at that. We have a big distraction, and it's been going on for quite a while. So how to understand one another. Put their interests before yours. Here's some ideas. Start them talking about something meaningful. Maybe get away from things that you disagree about. How about that? How about moving away from those conversations that are just not going to get you anywhere? And they're not going to change the world. Give them non-judgmental space to respond. Do you do that sometimes when you're talking to somebody you've already checked all the boxes? You know, I'm just tolerating you right here in front of me, and I'm going to put a smile on my face, and you're not even going to know that I'm busy checking boxes off on you. Take for granted that they have passions because they do. They may not verify, they may, hang on, they might just need to verify your sincerity. How about that? They may just need to verify your sincerity. Put down your phone, ask questions, be close to them. Don't automatically jump to advise. Boy, that's a good one for me and my children. They've always helped me with that one. Validate their feelings. Ask what you can do for them. Listen to this from Robin Williams. People think being alone makes you lonely, but I don't think that's true. Being surrounded by the wrong people is the loneliest thing in the world. I used to think the worst thing in my life was to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people that make you feel all alone. Wow. Wow. And how about to be heard? Everyone wants to be heard, right? To be understood. If someone genuinely listens and hears us, they gain our trust and we respect them. That's because they have respected us. Listening so we hear and more fully understand is not hard. It relies on mindfulness as we focus and concentrate on the person before us. Sometimes when I have someone in front of me, I remember that those people that make you feel like you're the only person in the room, The people that make you feel like you're the only person in the room. You know, they're not looking over your shoulder to see if there's somebody more important to talk to. They're not looking over your shoulder because they're running for mayor. That they're looking into your eyes and watching your body language and loving you. That's a skill, right? If being heard is being loved, we've found possibly the most powerful instrument on earth. Can you imagine? All you have to do is listen. Do you do that? If you're in a partnership or a marriage, wouldn't this be fun to practice for a week? Just to stand next to somebody and say, how are you? What's going on with you today? And forget about the appointment you have in 10 minutes or the message on your phone or something that you really would like to be doing. What if you were just present? Like that person was the only person on earth. And that moment was the most important moment there is. As we hear, we listen to the words spoken, their tone, inflection, pace, emotion, body language, and what is being said, as well as what is not being said. How about asking that question? What are you not saying? What do you think you're not saying? Who's willing to try this and get back to me next week? Hands. Who's willing to try this? Because the only conversation I can have is with my dogs. And I can do that. I can say, George, what are you not saying? I'll get back to you on that. To hear someone where they feel understood is a master stroke of human relationship. This is a skill. This is amazing. When we hear with all of our being, we love. And when we are heard with all of someone's attention, that's what it feels like to be loved. Wow. Wow. So, to be able to bless somebody by truly hearing and understanding them is to be God's instrument of peace and joy. I think that's a prayer by St. Francis, isn't it? Make me an instrument of thy love. Make me an instrument. Well, maybe I can practice listening, hearing, but more than that, maybe I can achieve the experience where the person communicating with me feels heard. That's a little different. It's kind of it's a long distance goal. It's getting us out of the I, me, mine. I think it's a beautiful idea. So some active listening, right? We speak a lot of words per minute. And so we anticipate a lot, don't we? I especially would like, I'm planning everything I want to say. Like, God, I wish they'd hurry up. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Because hang on a sec. Hang on to that thought because I gotta tell you. I'm sure I'm the only one that does that. Oh, the advice. Oh my goodness. I love to give advice. I know just what you need. Because the only way I can know just what you need is to know just what I need. So it's really easy for me to know what you need because it's all about me. Do you realize it is? That everything we perceive on the outside has to come first from the inside. So isn't it really imperative and important that we start listening for something new other than what we already know so that we can learn that and know that so that we can be ready to reflect that so that we can, right? And then the judgment. I can judge. I don't know what the speed of light is, but I know it's that long number, but I can judge as fast as the speed of light. I can judge your prepositions, your pronouns. I can judge your sentence before you've even finished it. That's how smart I am. And I judge everything you do by everything I believe. So believe me, everything about you is my belief system. I'm not even considering your belief system. How could I? I don't know what it is. All I know is it's not like mine, and I don't like you. So maybe instead of half listening, instead of sort of paying attention while multitasking, it says here, or just plain zoning out, most commonly anxiously waiting for the speaker to pause for a millisecond so that we can jump right in with our brilliance, maybe today we can stop and just listen. The person to whom you are listening would enjoy the extraordinary experience of being heard, seen, and witnessed. This is like a delight for the other person. You could actually go around making people feel good. You know, you may even hear the gold nuggets of that which is not being said. That's a possibility. So in contrary to popular belief, listening is not a passive happening. Listening is an active process in which we connect and make sense of each other. I was on a Zoom international meeting sponsored by Centers for Spiritual Living on keeping our 501c3 by not politicizing at our spiritual centers. We can literally get into a lot of trouble and lose our 501c3. But I've been harping on that for a couple of weeks now, maybe a couple of months. Just because we have this regulation, this legality that we cannot politicize. We also had the conversation about politicizing in social media, politicizing in so many areas and arenas that give us this fine line as to what's legal and what's not legal. And yes, we have freedom of speech. And yes, we have the right to speak our viewpoints. And I'm all about that. But what I'm more about is, does my viewpoint hurt you? Does my unwillingness not to listen to you, to already have formed my opinion, judged you and crucified you and unfollowed you and possibly unfriended you, does that serve the vision for my life? And we didn't create this vision for the center, for the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living for no reason. We created a vision that we are a welcoming sanctuary community where all are accepted, valued, and supported in the global family. Maybe we needed to add a few words. We are a welcoming, maybe, depending if you agree with us, sanctuary community, if you can give something to us, where all are accepted unless you disagree with us, valued unless you vote the same way I do, and supported as long as you can contribute to my viewpoint in the global family. We inspire and nurture personal and global transformation is our mission statement through the teaching of science of mind. And in the teaching of science of mind, it definitely teaches us to judge one another harshly, to turn away from one another. It tells us that I must share my opinion with you. I must crush you with it. I must, because I need to stand for what I believe in. And man, is it important to vote. That might be the way to really influence. But it's kind of a private thing, isn't it? How funny is that? That the one thing that can really make a difference, well, the many things can make a difference. Peaceful protests make a difference. People sharing their viewpoints and standing for something and against nothing is so important, and it changes minds globally. It's amazing and beautiful. But then what happens when we tip over into that violence? What happens when we decide that because you don't believe the same way I do, we cannot be together? I think we have to be very careful here. I know for me that I am careful. I'm careful to love all of you, to see you, to hear you, to feel you as best as I can. And then to be responsible and do what I know that can change the world in the way that I think is good for all. But I think that we are definitely kidding ourselves, fooling ourselves, if we really believe that it's more important for you to hear me, for you to see me, for you to feel me, than it is for me to hear you or see you or feel you. It's a lot to think about. Let us pray. And so you definitely can put your prayer in the chat, and we get a copy of that so that we pray for a week. You can also go to our website and put a prayer request in, and it gets emailed immediately to our ecclesiastic team. Again, we pray for a week. And then today we go into fellowship. Right after this, you can just stay in the Zoom room. We're all together. We stop the recording so that it's not recorded. And you can go into a prayer room from the Zoom room. God is good, right? This technology. And you can meet with a practitioner or a minister for a 5-minute miracle, for a prayer. So you have a lot of choices. We just love you. So I know that there's a power and a presence that creates everything out of itself. And that means it created all that is good and infinitely good, the abundance. There's never been a cosmic famine. There's more than enough. There's more than enough love, more than enough light and harmony and peace and joy. There's so much intelligence. This spirit is ever expanding. So I am ever expanding. All of us are that is, that one, creating out of itself that impress of our very souls. So we have the opportunity then to be that, good, to plug into that intelligence and use it. To know in every moment that all we have to do is open to it and observe it. Be willing to know that there's something brand new and something wonderful that can become our very life. That we can walk the world listening and hearing and feeling our brothers and sisters. That we can feed the children. That no one goes hungry. That no one is left out. That everyone is welcomed, included. That this is a sanctuary consciousness. I am love. I know that for each of us. And I'm here to be loved. I'm here to be heard and felt, understood, recognized. I'm here to do good in the world. I'm here for a reason. And I know that for each of us. And what's so great about this loving spirit is that it connects each of us to each other. We are correlated. We came from that union to this incarnation. So we're already connected. There's no way out. We are in that oneness. And all we have to do is rise up, look at it, feel it, live it, breathe it, practice it, demonstrate it, act as if, and we will change the world. We'll change the climate. We'll change the earth. We'll change the idea that we thrive. We're not just alive, but we thrive, and our children thrive, and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, that there'll be a planet here for them. I am so grateful to know this loving God, this loving spirit. And I know that the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living purposefully welcomes this God as who we are, and welcomes you, all of you, anyone. It doesn't matter what color, what country of origin, what gender, what ability. In fact, it does matter. We welcome all. And please, help me to understand. Help me to recognize. Love me as I love you. And I'm so grateful this prayer was answered before I spoke it, because that's the way it works. I release my word into the law that confirms it so. And please agree with me by saying, and so it is.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. One people, one voice. The song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of
Wow. Wow, that was so beautiful. And now it's time for our offering and our gifts that we receive today and every day from each other, especially through PayPal or credit card. You could donate online at www.scsl.org, or you could send a personal check to Sacramento CSL, 6035 Main Avenue in Orangevale, California, 95662. And our post office box is no longer available. Thank you. Now, if you'll join me silently and with our abundance affirmation, I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share and my willingness to share it, knowing that my gift returns to me multiplied many times over. And so it is.
And now for our announcements. So we have many, and you can see them all. They'll be listed on our website. And we have our classes that are freestanding, so you can join them anytime. And you can, again, go on our website and find out more information about those. And also, I believe in September, we have a book study that is coming. And then the Wisdom Wednesdays on the 26th is going to be my offering. I am doing it on heart-centered, which seems to be so appropriate for this month. It is the heart chakra, and it's how we can release and respond. We can release those barriers and that inner wounding that Michael Singer calls them scares, that sometimes can block our energy from flowing, so that we use our willpower with compassion, and we can speak our words and our thoughts with compassion. And so we'll be learning about that and how to identify them, how to release them, to release that block energy that can be in our hearts. We'll be learning about the meridians of the heart. And I would so moved by an earlier quote that if we have a desire, then give it birth, and that is me. I have this desire in me and have had for a while to bring us all to that point of love, that individual heart expression that we are here to express. And so this is my offering to each and every one of you. So please join me. I'm looking forward to it. And our community outreach again is next Saturday. We had a great time out there meeting yesterday and interacting with the community. It was great. So please, you know, we have in the parking lot, pull in, roll down your window, chat with us, drop off your goodies, and if you feel so moved, bring a chair and join us. We do it social distance with our masks. It's safe. And it was such a joyful time. And it was so moving to me to see how some of our local community there responded to us as they were going by. So please join us. We are collecting feminine hygiene, backpacks, flip-flops, and it's going to engage, which works with Homeful Youth downtown. So thank you. Please join us. And again, this is our book study that is coming in September, so you can find out more about that. So yes, go to our website, webpage at scsl.org, and just find out more. Keep connected and keep up to date, because we always have so much going on, and it is such joy. And just come and attend to what is calling you in these times. So our closing song, so please stay muted as we sing together our closing song. Thank you.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
And please remain muted as we say our affirmation. As I see you, feel you, and hear you, I love you. And giving thanks and a gratitude for the service today, the beauty and the messages and the music and the sharing of all of us. We're so grateful. And we give thanks to the one mind. And we bless the service, we bless each other, and we take this blessing within our heart of hearts, and we expand it throughout. For we are one, and so it is.